When we publish our packages to PyPI repository, it's really important to document our code so other people know how to use it. For example, think of the math module. When we import this on the top, import math, and then call any of its methods, we see this little documentation here. This is what we refer to as IntelliSense. So VS Code has this IntelliSense feature, which basically reads the documentation for this method and displays it in this little tooltip window. In contrast, our convert function has no documentation. So if we call it here, it's not clear what this function does. Now, this is a very basic function, but in a real application, we could have a function with one or more parameters. So people who use these functions need to know what these parameters are, what this function does, and what it returns. So this is the purpose of documentation. Now in Python, we have a special format for documenting our code called Docstring or documentation string. It's basically a string with triple quotes that we add right after declaration of a function or a class or a variable. This is different from using comments because we should use comments to explain why we have done things in a certain way. So we shouldn't use a comment to explain what a function does. What it does should be reflected in the documentation string. How it does what it does or why we implement it in a certain way should come in a comment. So let me show you how to document this module using Docstrings. So when we publish a module for other people to use, we should document the module itself as well as every object in it. So any classes, any methods in those classes, or any standalone functions in that module should be perfectly documented. So here, the first line of the module should be a docstring. We use triple quotes to define a docstring. Here we can have a one-line description that ends with a period. This is for simple cases, but if you want to explain more, you should use a multi-line docstring. By convention, the first line should be a short summary, followed by a blank line, and then a more detailed explanation. So if you want to use a multi-line docstring, this is the convention you need to follow. The first line should be a short description, followed by a blank line, followed by multiple lines of text. Now, if you're dealing with a simple case, you can simply use a one-line docstring. Let's change this into something more meaningful, like this module provides functions to convert a PDF to text. Now we need to document the convert function. So right after the declaration, we add triple quotes, pay attention to indentation, and do it exactly like what you see in this video. So here we need a short summary like convert the given PDF to text. Next, we need to have a blank line. If you want to explain this function in more details, we can do that here. In this case, we don't need it. So the next part is parameters. Currently, we don't have any parameters, but let's say we have this path parameter here. We need to explain what this parameter is, what its type is, and what we use it for. So path of type string, colon, the path to a PDF file. Now, if we had more parameters, we will list them here, one on each line. Next, we need a blank line, followed by returns. What do we return here? Let's say we return a string, and that is the content of the PDF file as text. Save the changes. VS Code automatically formats our code. And by the way, when we're dealing with multi-line docstrings, we can put the first line on a new line. It's more of a personal preference. I personally think this is cleaner because we have these triple double quotes on the top and bottom of our docstring. Let's save the changes. Now, to demonstrate what the consumer of this module will see, let's go back to our project. And here in the root, I'm going to add a new file, app.py. Let's say we're going to consume this module. So from Mosh PDF, we import PDF to text. Now here you can immediately see the documentation for our module. This module provides functions to convert a PDF to text. So that's the first benefit. Now PDF to text dot convert. Again, look at our documentation. Here's the short summary of our function, convert the given PDF to text. You can see the parameters, the return type, and so on. So back to our module. Here we currently have only a single function. If we had classes, again, we would have to document them. So as an example, I'm going to define a class here, class converter. And then I'm going to put this function inside of the converter class. So let's select it and indent it here. Now we need to add the first parameter, that is self. Save the changes. So here's our converter class. Right after declaration, we need to add a docstring that summarizes the behavior of this class. In this case, we can go with something like a simple converter for converting PDFs to text. And we end it here. Now, I know that this may look a little bit repetitive, but if you're providing code for others to use, this is really important. Please document your code because nobody likes to use a library that is not well documented.